now we're going to go over to working in Medellin, because over the course of 10 years, I've had a blog and I get a lot of people wanting to come to Medellin. And not everybody is a digital nomad, or people that are digital nomads want to get work here, or just people that are not digital nomads want to get a job here. So what are our top 10 tips for working in Medellin? What to look out for? So do you want to go first on this one?
But I know your answer because I wanted to put that one. So you go first.
You know my answer?
I know you're one of your answers.
You read them?
No, you told me it as an example, and I know it was more.
Oh, okay.
But that one's key.
Okay, so I'll give you my first tip on working or finding a job or getting a job in Medellin. So it comes to your resume, what we call in the United States our resume, or in Europe and maybe even Canada, they call it the CV, your curriculum vitae. Here they call it the CV, el CV. So on your resume, you want to make sure to put your picture on it. Always have a picture on it. In the United States, I never heard of that. Like putting a picture on a resume was almost like
prejudice, like encouraging prejudice.
Yeah, it's encouraging prejudice and encouraging
discrimination,
sexism, discrimination, because you're requiring to see a picture. But here, if you don't have a picture on your resume, they're probably not even going to look at it.
You see, I got one of those generic names, man. You got that. Nobody even has seen. What the hell is an Amacia? Like, nobody knows what that is in the U.S. Like, I tricked the shit out of motherfuckers with my name.
Yeah.
Joel like Duncan. They didn't expect me to show up.
They expect some gray-haired white man to walk in. They're like, yes, we start the mother load. He went to Toronto University.
Yeah. University of Toronto graduate Joel Duncan. So, Jewish first name, Scottish last name. We're good. If I threw my photo up on there, I probably wouldn't get a lot of calls. I wouldn't get it. But here you're required. Like it's you're just put that photo on there, man. You're blonde hair, blue eyes. Hey, and think about it. There's a lot of people we've talked to. Sam from Life Afar. We talked to. We didn't talk to Glenn, but a lot of people here have ended up launching a mini acting career.
Just because they're white.
Just because they're white, and they're reasonably good looking.
Well, yeah, they're good looking guys, and they're personable. So yeah, number one. Well, my first tip. It's not my number one tip. My first tip on working in Medellin is to make sure to put your picture on your resume, because it's something different. We don't do it in the United States. I don't know about Europe, but here they do it all the time.
All right, cool. My number one, I think a lot of these rules are universal, but some of them are more important here or very important here. When I started in photography here, most of my clients were gringos from the US, Europe, all foreigners, gringos. And it took me quite a while to get in with Paisas, with Colombians. I would say more than just about anywhere I've ever seen, who you know is so important. And I can't speak for all of Colombia, but Medellin, who you know is as important as what you know. Because I would be showing amazing work in comparison to the other work. And the person would be like, oh no, es que tengo un primo, tengo un hermano. Like I have got a cousin, I got a distant whoever. And at least before, they like to keep things within their own circles. And then also trusting a foreigner in business is really tough here. You're not just going to walk in and people will be like, oh yeah, you're a foreigner, let's work with you. Work and socializing are two different things. As a foreigner, you really have to prove yourself. So I would say one of the big things that you should do if you're not antisocial is get out there, shake a bouncer told me that when I was a kid. And I was getting into clubs underage. He'd be like, hey man, I'm going to give you one bit of advice. Because he knew I was underage. He let me in. He said, shake a hand. Pre-corona. Post-corona, you don't shake hands. You just, But here in Colombia, you meet somebody, you walk into a bar, speak to the owner. Speak to the next person. And you know what? Tell them what you do. Those people will turn you on to more jobs, more contacts than you will ever get applying on an online forum or trying to do it and show that you went to Harvard. Nobody gives a fuck if you went to Harvard in terms of business and making connections here. Like you'll literally get a job tomorrow if you know a bunch of Colombian people. They'll be like, oh yeah, I've got this person, they speak English. So really your net Your net worth is your network here in Colombia. Meet Colombian people, be friendly with these people, speak to them in English if that's all you can speak, but befriend them, and it'll open a lot of doors to you for you.
Yeah. So be friendly. Is that what it is?
Build a network.
Build a network.
Of Colombians, not just foreigners, because foreigners will not really take you very far here. There's a very big limit as to, you can be part of all these gringo paisa, gringo Canadian, whatever groups you want, but the people that will really, really at the end of the day make it for you here, unless your clients are outside, are Colombian people. So get to know the Colombian people in your industry.
Right. Okay. So mine is my second tip on working in Medellin is a two-part. Is a two-part one because it kind of coincides. So the first thing is a lot of people ask me, like, how can I get a job in Colombia? Like, how can I find a job? And first of all, for me, like my knee-jerk reaction is like, why the fuck would you want a job in Colombia?
Yeah.
But I understand that there are people that want to come to Colombia. They want to have a new experience. They want to improve their English. Maybe their Spanish. Maybe they don't need a bunch of money. Yeah. They just want to make enough money to be able to pay a rent here and live life for maybe a year or so. And I understand it and I appreciate it. And I think that's awesome because when I was younger, I literally did that. So what can you do to find a job? Number one, there are job platforms in Spanish in Colombia. For example, Computrabajos is a website that is like it's a classified job website, Computrabajos. But literally, one of the best ways to find a job is on the Facebook groups. And not only the expat groups, because there are expats, like for example us, that sometimes when we need a person, we will post on those. But there are also local groups of local Colombians that is like, for example, Bolsa de Empleo, Empleos en Medellin, Trabajo en Medellin, or whatever. Just look up those keywords in Google and you'll find a bunch of groups and you'll be able to see what's out there. And also, literally, I'm very proactive. I've never been the type of person to wait and call on an ad. Yeah. I would rather put myself out there. So what I would do is go on the group, let's say it's an expat group, and say, hey, my name is Andrew Messia. I speak fluent English. I speak fluent Spanish. I'm good at sales. I'm good at making websites. I'm good at marketing.
You're good at everything.
Yeah, I'm good at porno.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a 9-to-5 job. I can work from home, and I've got internet at home. So use Facebook and those online platforms to find a job. The second part to this is that when you do find that job and you've got your resume and you've sent it with your picture on it, you want to follow up. In person is number one. You want to follow up in person, number one. I've worked at a local companies here before we started Red Door. I actually literally had a job here. I've had 2 jobs in Colombia, and I know how this works. If you don't go in person, they don't care. Yeah. First. Second, use WhatsApp and Facebook and the phone to call them, to keep following up, and be persistent because they like that. Yeah. Because a lot of the times they get, especially for example, if it's like an English teaching job in Medellin, you know how many fucking resumes that person has? A ton, because I used to be that person where I'd see all the resumes and I'd have to call back people in September or in February when the school year was about to start and start interviewing them. But I had like a pile this big of resumes, maybe even bigger. So the people that I would pay attention to the most were the people that would be calling me, and I'd be like, oh yeah, you're calling again? Yeah, it's time for us to hire more. When can you come in for an interview with the boss, etc. So yeah. Be persistent, use WhatsApp, use Facebook. All these companies use that. That's my...
You get like 8 answers in there?
No. So my working in Medellin tip is to... use Facebook and WhatsApp use Facebook groups and local groups to find a job, and also to follow up in person or calling or WhatsApp.
Well, I had some things I had in order, but I don't know. I have a feeling that Andrew Messia is going to just swipe in and take my shit. So I got to bring some things up to the top. I would say whether you are in Medellin or anywhere else, and in Medellin even more so because it's done less, is something that Andrew and I are big supporters of. And I think it was Tyler that was the first person that he did a course of some sort, and you told me about it, and it changed the way we do business. It changed the way that we get clients. It changed the way that we communicate with clients. And I tell, even if I talk to Colombian people here, I'm like, please just start doing this. There is this thing called Screencast-O-Matic.
Or Loom.
Hey, Felipe, put this here. The other is Screencast-O-Matic. Or what?
Or Loom.
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 And I think even there's a lot of software. Hey, use video if you want a job. And if you're working. If you're working with, even if you already got the client, we're talking about working in Medellin, use video. Screen record the work that you've done. Show your face. You see this thing that we're doing here, and we're talking and we're here on camera, it seems very fucking easy, right? It's so easy. We just get in front of a mic and talk.
You gotta
but
practice.
most people don't do it. Most people don't do it.
Oh, remember when we started doing that? By the way, shout out to Tyler Gillespie.
Yep.
He's going to be on the podcast next week. We're going to be interviewing him.
Yep.
He literally, him and his business partner at the time, changed our lives because we saw their basically the way that they pitch clients by using video instead of writing a resume or submitting a resume or a proposal. You could do the proposal, but also do a video where the client sees your picture, your face, along with the screen capture of what you're talking about, whether it's you're guiding them through your proposal, guiding them through your CV, telling them, hey, this is who I am. Video, a picture speaks 1,000 words. Video is infinite words. Like you can't fathom what's going through anybody's head that's watching a video. So I
that's regardless of if they're here or not.
I didn't even put that.
Even if you're in the US, you're in the most developed place in the world. It's all about, we're marketers. Andrew and I are marketers. It's about breaking the clutter, right? If somebody is beautiful, right? They put, or handsome or whatever, and on their resume, they've got this perfect, they got the money to pay for a professional headshot. What do you do to pass them? And honestly, I've told this story to a lot of people. I've been in a job interview with 150 people sitting in like an auditorium. And I'm like, this is fucked up. And it comes down to who's the most creative and who can break the clutter. Even if, like Andrew and I, to the point that if we have an update for a client, if we want to explain something to someone, we just capture a screen, we speak to them, they hear our voice, they see our face, and they're like, yeah, this person's human. We're going to hire them. So people here, get in that habit, make a screen recording, send it out. You're going to top most people that are there.
Right.
Your number.
I love that suggestion. We do it all the time. Literally turned a $2,000 client into a $50,000 client doing that.
Yep.
Like that's not even a fucking joke.
Yep.
All right. So working in Medellin. So some people obviously are not just looking for jobs. They're digital nomads, and they want to maybe get gigs here. For example, let's say you're a website developer. Maybe you're an app developer. Maybe you're a CRM programmer, or even just a customer service person. But you want to work for someone local here, or market to the local economy and work as an independent contractor. So my third tip, right? This is my third working in Medellin tip, is to know the different type of contracts there are for employment. Whether it is, so I'm going to tell them to you right now. So there are 3 major contracts. 4, which is kind of iffy, but the fourth one is the verbal agreement. Verbal agreements do stand in court here, but just like in the US, it's a fucking verbal agreement. It could only go so far. Number 1 would be contrato de trabajo a término fijo. So if you're going to get a job and it's going to be a contract job, there's an employment contract for término fijo, which means a definite contract and it ends on a definite date. So let's say it starts today and it's going to end in 3 months. Then it says it in the contract when it's going to end and what you're going to get paid for as an employee. Obviously, you should also learn what an employer can offer as far as benefits like Social Security and paying into Social Security and health insurance and any extra things. For example, like here in Colombia, an employer, if you're getting a salaried job, is obligated to pay their salaried employees prima, which is the bonus, twice a year, once in December and once in April, is it? I believe it's April.
I think it's it's
April or
twice,
August, yeah.
Half year and then at the end of the year, yeah.
So anyway, it's good to know that the second contract is contrato a término indefinido, which is also like an employee contract, but that contract date, it says indefinido, which means that it's not defined. So the contract continues and extends until indefinitely, until you either get fired or the job is done, et cetera, but it's an employee contract. Now, for those of you guys that are gig economy workers that want to maybe build a website for someone here, you can have a contrato de obra o labor. And literally that's how we contract people for our apartment rebuilds here, like the contractors. The contractors want to contract or for us to sign a contract on their complete proposal for the entire project. We said, no, we don't want the entire contract because what if you fucking suck at plumbing and we didn't realize that until after you tore shit up. So we've done it by contrato de obra o labor, which means that you're contracted for a certain project, for a certain work, right? So that's my number 3 tip for working in Colombia is making sure that you know what the employee contracts are and what the per project contract is, which is obra o labor. Which is important because if you don't, I'm a guy that I trust people. Like if someone says, yeah, I'm going to pay you, but we were fucked once and you know who you were. We were there. We went to your place. We did pictures. We did a bunch of shit. Took a bunch of time.
Made some websites.
To do stuff.
Yeah.
Made a website and stuff and everything. And then the guy just never...
Ghost. He became Ghost.
He became a ghost.
Patrick Swayze does. He Swayze the shit out of...
Yeah, he was like
Swayze
a Patrick Swayze and Ghost coming out like didn't even say hi.
Yeah.
Like then
Turned
this
his
is like
back
a
on
person that we considered someone that was pretty cool.
We ate at his restaurant. We're not going to say your name, but we ate at his restaurant. We gave him way more money than he ever gave us.
Yeah.
Zero he gave us.
Oh, yeah. And on top of that, we'd bring our friends to his restaurant and shit.
Yeah.
But either way, everybody needs to know what the laws are here and what contract law is here as far as employment or gig type services.
Man, you give me all these ideas and stuff. All right. So I would say, because I can't really talk about being an employee for a Colombian because I've never been an employee for a Colombian. But here's what I would say. If you're going to come down and you're looking for a job, English teaching is usually the easy way out, right?
Yeah,
it is.
English teaching, well, it's easy if you're doing it online, but if you're trying to get a job as an English teacher here, it's very difficult.
Yes, Andrew can speak to that. I've never been an English teacher here. I don't know the complexities of getting a job, but this is what I'm going to talk about. It's about money. What is the average to you, the average amount that somebody, a foreigner, fully qualified, they're a teacher back home, but they want to teach English here at a school. What do you think they make?
Between 2 to 5 million pesos. So on the low end, it's 2 million pesos for a 45-hour work week. By the way.
But two million, a month.
A month.
2 million. 2 million pesos.
Yeah, 2 million pesos.
2 million pesos is like
it's
like $600.
Yeah. So on the low end, for example, if you're new and you don't have a lot of experience, it could be less 2 million pesos for like a 40 to 48 hour work week. The legal work week here in Colombia is 48 hours. That means that you're also working on fucking Saturdays.
Yeah, half day, I think.
Yeah. So 2 million pesos would be on the low end. On the high end would be 5 to 6 million.
Yeah.
For like university
and 6
teachers.
million is still under $2,000 a month.
Right. Yeah.
And again, yeah.
But that's good. If you're making, well, put it into perspective.
Yeah, you're right.
What is the minimum wage in Colombia? It's like
800,000 more or less.
Yeah, less than 800,000 pesos, which is how much in dollars?
4 to 1. At 4 to 1, it's $200, but a little under, I'd say about $230, $250.
So about $230, $250 per month is the minimum wage. And if you're making 2 million pesos, which in dollars is what?
$2 million, a third, so about $666.
So 606. So imagine the minimum wage here is 250, and on the low end, teaching English full time, and it's more. And any of those that have taught English, you know that it's not just 40 hours and you go home and you just chill. It's more than that, because
planning, you got to
planning, preparation,
marking,
grading,
exams. Yeah.
Exactly, it's more. You're making about over $600 a month. Is still a good salary. It's great for someone if they're here.
So I'm gonna jump into what my answer, my advice is: do not get a goddamn job in Colombia. Like seriously, you're coming unless, of course, you're I won't say undereducated, meaning that you don't have a degree or whatever else, and you're coming and you're looking for a trade or something. I can't speak to you because I don't know anything about a trade work here. Actually, maybe I can. Don't go to the Colombian market with all your skills. Go to the foreign market. And I know I said before, make your network Colombian, because at some point, if all foreigners go or collapse due to a coronavirus or something, you're going to have local people. So I still think that your service should be applicable locally. Here's my tip. If Andrew Campion is watching this right now, he started a company called The Apartment Medellin. If Rich Holman, which some of you are watching may know who Rich Holman is, the founder of First American Realty, and they merged together to form this company called FAR, I would say get your shit together and email, phone call, WhatsApp, Facebook foreigners that are already in business. You're going to take a hit on potentially on the pay. You're not going to come here, you were making 100 grand and expect to make 100 grand. But reach out to the foreign-owned businesses with a decent email. Say, hey, man, I'd love to talk to you for like 5 minutes to see how I can work for you, with you, or whatever. Because at least those people can value the work that you're bringing, because they probably know, hey, back home, this person is a $100,000 a year person. I'm getting them for 50 and they can push my business to the next, or I'm putting them for 40. But remember, people, 40,000 here is like, I would say $120,000 at home. Making 40,000 here is like making $120,000 in the US or in Canada. That's my opinion. So I would say reach out to the foreign-owned business that are in your sector and ask how you can collaborate and work with or work for them. And a lot of people are willing to reach out to you if you've got something really good to offer.
Well, I mean, I would say that applies to anywhere in the world. I remember that when, how old was I? I was like 25 or so. One of the best things that I ever did was I found an attorney online, and I saw that he wasn't doing very well online. And I went to his office and I said, "Hi, I'm Andrew Messia," like to the receptionist.
Yeah.
"I'm here to talk to Mark Tao, the owner and lawyer." And I said, and they're like, "Well, do you have an appointment?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Well, we only do appointments." I'm like, "Yeah, but I really need to talk to him about his website. It sucks."
Yeah.
And literally, she dialed him in and said, "Hey, someone wants to talk about your website. He says it sucks." Like she said that on the phone.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Bring him in."
Yeah.
I never got one dime of salary from him. I was never a salaried employee. I was never a per hour employee. I was only commission based. But that's how I would say, if I were to write a book on my life, that's where I started to build my empire. Was on that one thing. And it was because I had the balls to build my network, and I was tired of the people that I was hanging out with, which were my friends, but they weren't where I wanted to be. But I saw this guy that is where I want him to be, but where I wanted to be, but I saw an opportunity to cling on to his coattails somehow. So it just takes balls, I think.
But I think that's like anything in business. Like we talked about sending videos, people. Once again, I honestly like to apply for a job. I wouldn't even know what to do at this point in my life. But if I did have to do that, it's the same way we pitch clients. Go above and beyond. Go above them, even if it's a foreigner. If you're coming here, just don't just come and say, "I went to Harvard and I do this." What are you offering? And go and think. Just sincere advice. If you've thought of something, if the first thing that comes to your mind is to do this, think that the next guy is probably going to do that exact thing. So how do you go 10 steps further than he went to really get attention? We're marketers, people. The world is all about marketing. So get your shit together, reach out to the foreigners, but offer something, not just your passport. Yours.
Get a fucking bank account. You don't know how many foreigners here that I've had that are great at what they do, but they don't have a Colombian bank account. So I can't pay them in Colombian pesos and I can't write it off as an expense to my Colombian business. If you want to do business in Colombia, and obviously, I think one of the major ones that we have not talked about, and maybe Joel will talk about, I don't know, is the visa thing. But yeah, that's a whole other, what do you call it? That's a
Kettle
whole
of
other
fish? Kettle
of fish, or
yeah, I don't know who puts fish in kettle.
Ball of yarn.
Oh.
But anyway, that's a whole other thing that we're talking about, visas. But if you want to do and get paid in Colombia, get a bank account. Obviously, the most well-known bank and where most people have their banking in Colombia is Bancolombia. As a foreigner, there are specific locations where you can go in and they actually have an English-speaking person that can help you open up a bank account, and you don't even have to have a local ID. You can open it up with your passport. If you open up a local bank account, it opens you up to being able to receive money from anybody that you do work for. And on top of that, the app is amazing. You literally can go to a restaurant, or like for example, Dharma, which is the vegan restaurant, or El Hecho, which is the vegetarian restaurant. And I'll go over there with my app on my phone, and I'll pay them through the app. And they receive payment. So local businesses receive payment. Local businesses will pay contractors through the app, and it is completely legal. And yeah, I can't say anything more about getting a fucking bank account.
Aren't you forget? I mean, I thought I was gonna steal your. Didn't you tell me something about timing and lateness and stuff like that?
Yeah, but I'll get to that later.
Oh, late. Oh, that's another topic. Okay. Yeah. So my last bit of advice to anybody coming to. Hey, this is the same answer I gave about safety. The same answer I'm going to give about business and working here. This is not the United States of America. It is not Canada. It's not Germany. It's not England. And I call it's not Japan. It's places where there's rigid rules and people follow the rules and this is how we do things and blah, 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 blah. If you're coming to do business here, whether you're working for someone or you're starting a business, expect the unexpected. You know, timing is crazy. Everything is crazy here. It's not like home. So this is specifically for business owners, and something that I've learned with our crew, the guys that work with us, is that we assume that everybody has been through the same work experience, has had the same mentorship, has had the same type of bosses that we have. So we expect them to perform a certain way, to do things a certain way, to send emails, to manage expectations, and all those things, like manage expectations that we talk about. And lately, this is something that's come to me as a business owner here, is that you have to expect, if you want to develop a company culture that's similar to the company culture or a workplace environment, whether you're now starting in that workplace, you want to influence things, is you have to teach. Like, you have to be prepared to teach, because this is not home. They don't share the same values. They haven't been experienced to the go, always on time, go above and beyond. Right. I mean, make a video.
When I worked in Bogota, because I did have a job in Bogota in 2010, I worked for a call center in their marketing department. Literally, I came to Colombia and I was like, fuck, I work online and I'm a freelancer, but I want to experience Colombia. And granted, I was born in Colombia, so I'm pretty fluent in Spanish, but it kicked my ass speaking to those people. But that was one of the things that I noticed. The biggest difference between Bogota and Medellin is that Bogota is kind of like the US in that regard, where it's like, if you don't come to work on time, if you don't answer a call, if you don't answer an email, you're fucked. In Medellin, it's a little bit more lax. It reminded me of like Southern California versus Northern California. And I'm not talking about Silicon Valley. I'm talking about like San Jose area, where it's like, if you're working and the life is a little bit more relaxed and laid back compared to like LA, where everything is high paced. I completely agree with Joel in regards to if you go above and beyond here, people take notice. Like if you go above and beyond, if like I was saying, if you follow up with people in person, on the phone, on WhatsApp, you do a video to with your CV. It's something that people don't usually experience here, so you do stand out.
Yeah. So my thing was that you have to train, but for those of you hiring people, for those of you who want to start, we've got we're going to talk about that later. Somebody's going to be on our show who's launching or who has launched a new rum brand that plans to go head to head with Ron Medellin and Caldas and them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like, when you're hiring people, I don't know, we didn't talk in depth about how old the business and stuff is, but if you want to, if you have years of experience, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20 years of working in the US or Canada, be prepared to train your staff to be the way and to run the business the way that you want to run it. Don't assume that you're just going to find folks like that, because there's a huge cultural difference.
Right. Okay.